Watership Down is my favorite book. It's an epic distilled into a form kids can enjoy, full of rich, interesting culture, language, and poetry. Darker themes of war and death serve to move the story along, but can be dissected by older readers. This unassuming book about a group of traveling anthropomorphized rabbits so perfectly nails the fundamentals of great storytelling, like world building and the hero's journey, that it feels, to someone who loves to pick apart books, comforting. Add to that Richard Adams' passion for the environment and his beautifully written prose that focuses on love and compassion and empathy towards nature, there is no contest. It is, in my opinion, a perfect book, and I highly encourage you to check it out. But we're not talking about this book specifically today. Today we're talking about Watership Down's Adaptations, specifically the 1978 2D animated film that is probably most known by, the 2018 CGI TV series on Netflix that I don't think anyone watched, and the 2023 graphic novel. 3 adaptations from 3 different decades. Surprisingly, even though they all have the same source material, each adaptation feels different than the other. I thought it might be interesting to compare each medium as well as the people behind them and their intended audience. Now, before I continue, I want you to guess between each medium who would have the best shot at creating an accurate, faithful retelling of this 476-page, 4-part epic. The 384-page graphic novel, the 1.5-hour-long movie, or the 4-episode, 4-hour-long TV series?
Probably the TV series.
Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But let's go in order. The movie. The movie gets the themes right, it gets the characters right, and it manages to hit all of the major story beats, but the pacing is rushed, so there's no time to really feel the impact of every decision. The tone is dark, so is the book, but it's startling and graphic here. This is what the movie is most known for, and because of its infamy, what the book has sort of been known for. This information is important later, but listen, I'm not mad about it. Scare children. It accurately depicts what the rabbits are up against and the danger they're in. I think it raises the stakes appropriately, and the director Rosen agrees. Quote, "That's part of nature. Nature is very tough. Richard Adams was very strong on that element. I felt it was absolutely critical. I did not make this picture for kids at all." Because of its rush pacing, it excluded a lot of the rabbits that joined the main group later on, like Bluebell, Strawberry, or any of the Hutch rabbits, which makes sense because the cast is already big, but part of the reason the main group goes on these adventures is to get more rabbits to join them in the first place, so it's kind of weird not seeing the warren grow. Also, while watching, I noticed there wasn't a lot of big establishing shots of the cast or where they were, when I think it could have helped feeling the scale of the place. This could have been the limit of the animation. This movie is 2D, using hand-painted watercolor backgrounds and cel animation. Think movies like Bambi or Dumbo. But the director, Martin Rosen, had never worked in animation before, so he approached this by treating it as like a live-action movie, and he didn't really have an idea or how to plan, and things were changing and being cut up until the final edit.
I think, if anything, the fact that I was not an animation guy, I brought perhaps live-action filmmaking ideas to it. Because I didn't know what couldn't be done or what could be done. I wasn't hemmed in by anything, and not infrequently my key people would throw up their hands and saying, "Well, you can't do that."
Well, the interesting thing to me is, and I never knew these things happened because I was new to this as well, is that everything is done in a line test form, which is like a pencil drawing basically, where you've got the background and the foreground, and you can see through everything. They're all just an outline of everything to get the idea of layouts for sequences. And the interesting thing is, you put this together like the storyboards that they've been shooting to, and once you've got it together as a piece, it doesn't always quite work. You know, it's either too slow, or you needed to have, you needed a different angle on things. And that's the thing that fascinated me. You talk to the animators and you say, well, this sequence, for instance, would be much better if he could get round this thing. Things are in his way and when he's running across something. And they said to me, well, you just tell us where you want the trees to be, or do you want the house a little bit to the left? I mean, I thought that was fantastic.
Oh no.
Because in animation, there's like a whole structure you have to
There's
follow.
a pipeline, yes. There's definitely a system you need to follow. And if one isn't right, then the whole thing falls apart.
So all in all, it definitely felt that this was a passion project. It was self-funded too, with no guarantee that anybody was going to pick it
Aw,
up.
that's cute.
Exactly. But it ended up really paying off. It won a ton of awards. It was like super up there in the charts when it first released. And it's hailed by fans of the book and animation enthusiasts and scarring children everywhere. Thank you, Watership Down movie. The TV series. Where do I begin? We decided to film our reaction to this to really get our thoughts in order because it had been a long time since we'd seen it. I mean, literally not since it first premiered, so 9 years ago. Jesus.
9 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my
and I'll
God.
leave the rant to that video, but it falls short. It manages to hit all of the story beats and really emphasizes the themes, but somehow it feels a lot more heavy-handed. You'd expect the pacing to be the best in this one because it's 4 parts, which is the same as the book. But I guess the director or the writer really did not have enough faith that people would be paying attention because it adds and shifts around events so that the story and these characters are always moving. Even in the tense situations, they turn up the dial to an almost absurd level just to really force you to be on the edge of your seat all of the time. This kind of pacing really comes at the cost of the characters, which are really built in the slower, contemplative moments. The characters in here are angry, impatient, and stressed practically the entire time. I missed the care between the main brothers, Hazel and Fiver, and Hazel's growing camaraderie with Blackberry and Silver, and Bigwig is just so flat in this, which is so sad because I love John Boyega and I was excited when I heard he was cast. But they completely gloss over major parts of his character development, like The Wire and Fiver, everything with Hazel, and there's still no relationship with Kahar, the bird. Why do they keep cutting that out? This is also a CG animated series, produced by Netflix and BBC and directed by Noam Muro, who wanted to strike a balance between this being very lifelike and also dreamy. He wanted the style to walk the line between them. This director also doesn't come from an animation background, and said he specifically shot the series as if it was live action, placing the camera only where it would make sense for it to go in physical reality, which... why would you do that?
It's a choice?
Yeah.
What?
Because in animation, you can do whatever you want.
Literally limitless medium. And you choose to limit yourself to reality for a story about rabbits?
Yeah.
Huh?
In my opinion, in a contest between CG and 2D, 2D wins every time. Not only because 2D just looks more timeless, but you can really go crazy and stylize it. When this adaptation went more stylish with Fiver's dreams specifically, those were my favorite parts, because other than that, it really suffers from being either way too bright or way too dark. It also, interestingly, toned down the gore compared to the first film. There's really no blood in this at all, even though it looks more realistic. When asked if the director was keeping children in mind, he said, quote, "I never ever thought about it. Is it geared toward a teenager or to an adult? I think that the themes in it, and I really mean it, the themes in it are universal themes, existential themes, that you can see them in a perspective as a young person, and you can look at them from the perspective of an adult and have a complete, full relationship at whatever age you are." And I agree. This was intended for all audiences, whether you're interested in anthropomorphic CGI epic or not. It reminded me of the Peter Jackson Hobbit trilogy, which takes a really simple story and just turns the stakes and the drama and the romance, don't even get me started on that, times a million. It just didn't really feel like Watership Down.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And it had all the time in the world.
It had all the time.
You had an hour for each of the parts of the book, technically.
Exactly. So how does it not feel like the book at all?
I don't know.
It's crazy. How did you do that? The graphic novel. James Sturm and Joe Sutphin are both experienced novelists and illustrators, and to adapt something with tons of characters and prose, they had to cut down a lot, which makes sense. Firstly, the rabbit stories. What a missed opportunity to go crazy with the art. In the movie, they stylized it completely different than the actual film, and it's so striking and memorable. In the series, they started the same way, but they used the CG version of silhouette animation, which is just so pretty. Here, it's just very slightly different than the style already used, and I wish they went crazier with it. Second, in the lead up to the release, they made it clear that they intentionally toned down the darker, disturbing aspects. Quote, I hope that this book will help people correct their memory of Watership Down. The animated film focused heavily on the peril and less on the beauty. The way that we tell it, the darkness is real, but it's all with the sense that you're holding on to faith, you're building character, you're finding hope. So they made this version a little more kid-friendly, a little more you read it aloud to your kids as they go to bed at night. And while I appreciate that, this adaptation now sort of loses its teeth. One thing that I do love is that they nail every character. These are definitely the same characterizations as the original book, and the artist does a great job of making them look distinct while keeping it believable. All of the rabbits get their moments to shine, especially Hazel, who actually feels like the natural leader he is and interacts and encourages everyone. Even though it didn't exactly live up to the hype, I just can't be mad about it. It's so gorgeous, and they obviously put so much love and care behind it. In conclusion, the movie set out to make a good movie first with love and care for the original story, but with a sort of skewed idea of how that would happen. The TV series, I don't think, had any idea of what it was doing. Was it trying to make a new epic? Was it trying to make something basically completely new? And the graphic novel was more geared towards kids, which I just find is fascinating, how much who you're writing for can affect how the same story is told. So yeah, so far the only adaptation to check out is the movie, but I'm begging you to do one better and just read the book for yourself. And don't forget to check out our reaction to the series. It's a fun time.
Definitely.
Shout out to all of the artists who love Watership Down. Thank you, Richard
You're keeping
Adams.
this fandom alive.
Yes. Thank you for watching.